What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, there's some new One Piece promos. We need to have a chat about some new One Piece promos. We've had a new promo pack that has been released over in Japan to celebrate the 3rd anniversary, and we do in fact have a bit more information about those One Piece Day promos as well. So why don't we start having a look at this 3rd anniversary pack? And I need to remind you guys, because I do feel this is rather important. The 3rd anniversary is very much unashamedly focused around the three brothers. And this is important, because we have ourselves a new promo pack, which is very much a 3rd anniversary pack. It is literally called 3rd Anniversary One Piece Card Treasure Campaign. That's what it's talking about, that's what it says on the side here. And essentially there are promo packs where there are 7 types of cards, and when you buy one pack, you get one card. And essentially you need to go to approved places, One Piece stores and as such, spend 2,000 yen on One Piece card game booster packs, and you will receive a 3rd Anniversary Treasure Campaign pack. Awesome! Now, it's starting on Saturday, August the 23rd, that is next Saturday, and it includes all of the booster packs. And it's kind of surprising, I've slept on this a little bit. There are 17 different booster packs of the One Piece trading card game at this point, with a 2 EB and a 2 PRB, and of course, your regular ones. There are a lot of One Piece card game booster packs. Cool! And there are 7 promos that are available, and frankly, I think there is a lot to get very excited about here, because these are anniversary packs. They are celebrating One Piece's 3 years of awesomeness, and this is really represented well in the cards. Now, take the Luffy, for instance. This is a Luffy from Starter Deck 10. There's nothing particularly big or special or fancy about this Luffy from Starter Deck 10. It is a Luffy from Starter Deck 10. Not only that, but it is actually the same artwork. But is it really? I mean, the answer is yes, it is the same basic artwork, let's be perfectly clear, but they've gone and made it into a promo pack style, which, remember, for OP10 we didn't actually have. And we've seen things like this since. Take Starter Deck 13, for instance, where we had a Luffy card that looked a bit like this. Back in Starter Deck 10 we didn't, so now we're righting the wrong a little bit here. And this is a very cool Luffy, 10 cost, 11k, no counter. But we do have Rush, and when your opponent activates Blocker once per turn, you get to KO one of your opponent's characters with 8,000 power or less. Which is really another way of saying, haha, got it, your opponent won't be blocking. Or at least if they want to block, they've got to give up one of their characters to do so, which is actually incredibly annoying. Now, in addition to the Luffy from Starter Deck 10, there is actually a second Luffy on offer. It is, in fact, the Luffy that came around in OP07. Essentially, each of them gets an event card. We'll talk about those in a minute. They are definitely the best of the bunch. And each of the three brothers gets themselves a character card, and then, like, it's a 7-card pack. Obviously, Luffy was always going to be the one that got the extra one. Come on, obviously that was going to be the case. Now, this is a Luffy from OP07, which is your green Luffy here. And once again, you might notice, same artwork. They've kind of done this thing where they've taken the same artwork from before, but just made it into this new promo style. And people are going to differ on this. Some people are going to really like the fact they've done the existing art in a new style because it looks kind of cool, and that's lovely. Other people are going to look at this and go, well, hang on a second, it's not actually alternate art. I will say it's not identical. They have zoomed in, but they have just zoomed in and turned it into this kind of monochrome style. If you like that, and I personally do, that's awesome. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. But this is the one from OP07, 5 cost 6k, counter plus 1,000, and if you have 3 or more characters, your characters of a cost of 3 or less other than Monkey D. Luffy cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects. Not one that's really been shaping the metagame, but this is another one which I think there is a lot of potential here. Low-cost blockers, anyone? Just saying. Now, I did say there was at least one of each of the three brothers shown off here. The ace is a blue Whitebeard, as is the one from OP07. And if you've been paying attention to my videos lately, you may have noticed I am becoming very partial to blue Whitebeard pirates. I think something's going to be going on in the near future. I think they're going to become very good. It's certainly something I'm going to be playing around with, even if nobody else does. But this is the one from OP07, and it is, as you may see on the screen here, it's the same artwork, just like the two Luffy I showed you. Same artwork we had previously, but we're zoomed in here. Well, this one's less zoomed in and more taken the border off. Still has a wonderful design, still looks awesome, and the fact that they are kind of borderless alone does make me, well, not borderless, but you know what I mean, they don't have the little text box and all of that. They look awesome, that's the point I'm making. And this is a blocker that on play draws 2 cards and put 2 cards from your hand to the top or bottom of your deck in any order. I'm going to be playing around a lot with blue Whitebeard pirates moving forward, and I'm just saying this is a card I've absolutely got my eye on. And then of course there has to be a Sabo. This is the one actually from OP10. So the only card we get from OP10 here in terms of the characters, and this is your blue Sabo from OP10, and what we have here is a 4-cost 5,000 power, counter plus 2,000, always nice to have that, and yes, you will notice once again, same artwork, but have taken off the border, made it monochrome, it looks stunning. And this is the one whereby if your character with a base cost of 7 or less other than Sabo would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may return this character to the owner's hand instead. But remember what I said a minute ago about it having counter plus 2k? It's actually really kind of cool that you are essentially putting this down. You can protect your other characters, but while you're protecting your other characters, you can bounce it back to your hand and have a 2k counter ready to go. This sounds okay by me. But these are the worst of the cards, because we've also got the event cards. We've got 3 event cards, they're all on the screen here. They are all from OP13, and I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that these are the ones people really want. I feel pretty confident that when we get this pack out in the wild, and remember it's not out until the 23rd of August, but when this gets out into the wild, I feel pretty confident that this is going to be the one that people are absolutely loving, that people are all over. This is going to be the one that people are coveting. So we got ourselves, I Know You're Strong, so I'll go all out from the start. This is a 1-cost green event, and as a main, you may rest 2 of your Don cards, so it's really a free cost. And up to 2 of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less will not become active during your opponent's next refresh phase. Free cost to turn off 2 of your opponent's characters for a turn? That sounds cool. Remember, these are OP13 cards here, so we don't actually know if they're any good. It's all supposition. We will find out later. And there is also a counter here that gives your leader a 3k bump during this battle. Okay, cool. It's one of those ones where it's got the, 1-cost 3k counter. That's fine. We've seen this on a bunch of cards before. This isn't that new or novel. But then you've also got the option to essentially make it a free cost to turn off 2 of your opponent's characters. I think this is cool. But also, whereas the others, the characters I showed you, they looked fine. This is the one where they've not just taken the border off. They've essentially added manga panels down at the bottom of the card as well. They basically turned into manga events. These are redonk. The characters are nice, but if I'm able to go and get any of these cards, and you better believe I'm going to be talking to my friends in Japan to try and get some of these cards, I want the events. They are, as far as I'm concerned at least, by far the coolest of them. Now, there is also an Ace event, and why, yes, it is a blue Whitebeard event. One I've got my eye on, one I'm looking out for. If I bow down to power, what's the point in living? It is a 1-cost, and it does have a counter that gives one of your leaders a 3k bump for this battle. Oh, gee whiz. Just like the event I showed you a moment ago for Luffy does. But then it's got a main that lets you rest one of your Don cards, essentially making it a 2-cost. And if you have 1 or fewer life, your opponent cannot activate a card with blocker when your leader attacks this turn. And it is very specifically your leader attacking, so it's kind of a weird card, but it allows you to do that thing where you load up your leader for one big swing. You kind of assume or set it up so that your opponent cannot counter out of it, but then you play this card so your opponent isn't able to block. And if you've got too much power for them to counter and they're not able to block, that's going to be a swing that goes through and wins the game. Very cool card. One that I have, well, very much got my eye on. And then we got ourselves one last event coming in here. It is your Sabo Event. Ace Won't Forgive You. It is a 1-cost, and yes, it's got a counter that gives your leader a 3k bump during the battle. Fine. But it's also got main rest 4 of your Don. So again, it's really a 5-cost if you're not using it as a counter. And what you do is give one of your opponent's characters minus 3,000 power for the turn, and then KO an opponent's character with 3,000 power or less. Yes, you will just be able to go to a 6k character, bump it down to a 3 and then KO it. That is absolutely an option. But you know what else you can do? KO a 3k or less while lowering one by 3k, which allows you to then go and take it out with something else. So make no mistake about it, this is something which it can just take out a 6k, but it can also do a bunch more. Now, the other thing we need to talk about very quickly at the end, I previously showed you the One Piece Day cards which are being released, the Luffy and the Don, but we've now got a much clearer, better look at them. The Luffy is just a vanilla card. It is a 7-cost 9k, counter plus 1,000, and it is an Elbaf card, a 4 Emperors card, and a Straw Hat Pirates card. The traits are very important for vanilla because it tells you what decks you can be using them in. And then we've got the Don, which again I showed you earlier, but the look we had was frankly not the best. Now we have a better look, and this is awesome. But I've showed you all of this now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this new promo pack. Tell me what you think about these Elbaf promos. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.